outside the hash marks and down the field is a no-fly zone in the Niners offense the last several years. It just didn't happen, right? More than 20 plus yards down the field didn't happen. Certainly 40-yard throws down the field did not happen. I think Jimmy had the second fewest attempts, 20 yards or more down the field in the NFL last year. Only Daniel Jones had fewer. And basically half of his throws come within, I think, 15 yards of the line of scrimmage between the hash marks.
Who, James G?
James G. So this is what's different. This is, you're going to give some stuff up, some experience. But I was thinking about it today on the checklist of things that Kyle Shanahan wants out of Trey Lance when he made the switch, where he wants to be better than he was. Red zone is not high on that list. Red zone, Kyle can handle red zone. But it's some of the stuff we saw down the field of practice today that's why he did what he did.
Do you think if Jimmy Garoppolo was under contract for the next several years and Trey Lance was on some other team and they were just humming along with Jimmy as their starting quarterback, they draft Danny Gray high in the third round?
Probably Jimmy Garoppolo's his quarterback wouldn't make as much sense.
No. Why did the Chiefs start drafting different type players once they got Patrick Mahomes? They have much more speed on the outside with Danny Gray. Ayuk's been around, but let's face it, Ayuk was a little underutilized, I think some people would say, with his ability to stretch the field. So yesterday, hard on him. It was a tough day in the red zone for the offense. And when it's a tough day for the offense in a practice, like I can't really judge the practice script. So I can't crush the play caller. We go to the quarterback. And whether it's all his fault or not, talking to Dante Whitner, who was on the other side in the red zone, the first thing he says is, in the red zone as a quarterback, your speed of going through your progressions has to like amplify threefold because the timing, it's way faster. It just happens faster. Well, and I said this yesterday, at the 50-yard line, you got a little more time, especially when he's just running Andy Reid's favorite play, all go special. Now, the Niners, not in a million years, unless like they were down in the Super Bowl or a last second game, are running all go special. They can run multiple go routes right now and let Trey, whoever you like, whatever matchup you like, let it rip. And he's going to hit some of those. And that's what Danny Gray can fly. Ayuk can fly. Debo can run that pass. You know, you could do it to him. Kittle, hell, just on a basically down the seam go route. I guess Jimmy could kind of hit, but it feels like most of even Kittle's action was like ins and outs and just shit kind of sitting in zones. And then he made the rest happen. That can counterbalance. Like part of learning the red zone, it takes years to figure it out, be comfortable with it. I'm fine with that. That's part of drafting a guy big picture. But right away, you should be able to utilize the arm. Go back to once upon a time with Kaepernick. One thing that immediately changed, and this is part of having Alex Smith, who kind of fits the Jimmy mold, and it happened with Cap, and then it obviously happened on a much higher level with Mahomes, is the explosive passing game. Like when you really look back at the Niners, like Kaepernick's number, he wasn't picking you apart. It was like, he was 32 of 38. Like, no, it was always games like 12 of 19. But sometimes he would throw for 250 yards because he hit two plays of 60 yards a pop, which are the Niners, their only 60-yard plays have been runs or a play where Debo breaks 7 tackles. When you can just hit the go route, imagine being in a tie game, third quarter, 2 minutes left in third quarter, and it's like, this thing is going down to the wire. Niners are at their own 30, it's 3rd and 8. All of a sudden, they hit a 50-yard play, flips it. A couple plays later, they score, they end up winning by 14. That wasn't like, let's face it, under Jimmy Garoppolo, if they didn't hit a big run or a unreal screen pass from Debo, their scores were methodical. It took them time. They were not a quick score offense. And the way you quick score on offense, Josh Allen has this, Herbert has this, obviously Mahomes. And I'm not saying he's those guys by any means, but he does have the ability to just throw a 50-yard bomb, right? And they got some guys you can just throw 50-yard bombs to. And that is a curveball that Kyle has not been, they just didn't even call that play. And rightfully so. There was the point in calling the play. It was just not, it wasn't in the arsenal. It's like, why don't you throw a slider? I don't know how. Like, why don't you throw a go route? Because it ain't going to work. So why even waste time?
Yeah, the 14-play drives with 11 runs is fun, but sometimes you need to be able to score faster.
Well, it's sweet. Like the first series of the game against the Cowboys, like we're gonna fuck you up. It's another
when
thing
you
where
have,
it's like,
or when you've got a 10-score lead in the fourth quarter. Right.
yeah. What about like
When you're down 7? Yes.
7 minutes left, you're down 10. You're like, well, we gotta pick up the pace here, guys. We gotta score twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody DM'd us, or maybe it was somebody made a comment on one of our YouTubes the other day. They were like, you guys talk about how much Kyle Shanahan loves just running the rock. Don't forget, I mean, when he had Matt Ryan, he loved throwing the football too. Matt Ryan led the league in air yards per attempt back in 2016 at over 10 yards.
Julio.
And it's true, right? Like Kyle does love running the rock, but he also likes throwing the ball down the field more than he has with Jimmy Garoppolo. There is more of a balance that he would like, because at the end of the day, Kyle does like style. He loves substance and he loves pounding it at you. But Kyle also loves to, tell John Lynch and be like, watch this. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be open down the middle of the field and hit it. And, the Niners, that is an element that they just didn't have. And I think it's a part. I think Brandon Ayuk might benefit the most from anybody this year with the addition of Trey, because that's not really Debo. Juwan Jennings is not separating down the field, really. That's maybe Danny Gray. We can talk about that. And that's also Ayuk, but it's primarily Ayuk.
Yeah, I would expect them to try to establish some deep passing games, which they did a couple times last year. Remember Houston, some play action, deep bombs. Like that is just going to be an element of the offense that is going to get implemented, I think, early and often.